Okay, well, it's about 5 after 6, so we are going to go ahead and get started. We want to be respectful of your time, and we just really appreciate you guys joining us tonight.
I know, we're so excited to have you all.
Yeah, so my name is Anna McCall. I'm the Administrative Director here at Keystone.
And I'm Martha. I'm the Assistant Director.
And we are so glad you guys have joined us. So tonight's presentation is going to be about homesickness at camp, how to survive and thrive.
Yes.
Martha and I have been working hard on getting this ready for you, and what we'll do is we'll run quickly through our information and then give you guys a chance to ask questions. I will be emailing this out. We're recording it tonight, so I will email this out tomorrow, and you guys will have all of our notes and can go from there. So the first thing we want you guys to know about homesickness is that you are not alone. You and your child are perfectly normal with these feelings of homesickness.
Yes, absolutely. You're trusting us with your child, not knowing what that can look like, I know can be a little bit nerve-wracking, but we get it. It can be a little hard to let go.
Absolutely. I mean, it's maybe the first time you're not sure, you don't know where your daughter is at every moment of the day and what she's doing, and it takes a lot of trust on your part to let us have your most precious resource. So we are so grateful for that, and we also want you to know that we understand how hard this is for you guys. So that's why we're taking some time tonight to kind of go over this and talk about things and give you some tips. So one of the things we thought we would start with are talking about what is it that parents worry about. So we've decided to separate this into 3 separate categories. The 3 S's, we've got separation, safety, and social concerns. So we're going to start with separation. Homesickness is so normal. Martha, can you tell us some of the symptoms that homesickness may present?
It can be anything from, anxiety. Some people liken it to just being dehydrated, but you're definitely going to see, maybe being a little bit lethargic, just kind of maybe anxious, and a lot of that can be alleviated with some of the steps we're going to go through later, but
Absolutely.
Knowing what's coming ahead is going to be huge.
Yes, I asked our nurse about this as I was preparing for tonight, and she said that in the infirmary, they will see a camper who comes to the infirmary complaining of the same physical complaint at the same time every day. So maybe her stomach starts hurting after assembly, or her knee hurts at night, and she's just really looking to go by the infirmary and have somebody check on her and reassure her that everything is okay. So those are all perfectly normal feelings for a camper who's separated for the first time. Some ways that you can help with the separation. One of the things I put in the email when I sent this out is that it can be a self-fulfilling prophecy on the camper's part, that if they think they're going to be really homesick, then they tend to be really homesick. So one of the things we hope to accomplish tonight is to give you some tips and tricks on how to rewire her thinking and get her out of that worry process and give her some concrete steps to work on before camp starts so that she knows she can do this.
I know.
So the first thing that we're going to talk about is how to help your camper feel in control.
So, there's a little mantra you want her to say. I have a say in important camp decisions, such as what my schedule will be and what I will do in my free time. Earlier, I was kind of talking about anxiety and how that plays a big part of homesickness. So a great thing to do would be, look at our website together, go through our daily schedule and kind of walk through that. That way, when she comes to camp feeling a little bit more prepared and like she has it together.
Absolutely. One of the things we say at Keystone is that your schedule is your choice. So you can let her know that, she's going to have the freedom and control to make her day look how she wants it to look. So that can be very comforting for a camper to know what is coming. All right. So the second C that we are going to talk about is coping.
Well, that is huge.
Yes. I mean, I feel like I can, even now as an adult sometimes, when I have to travel for camp sometimes, I get these feelings. So it's important for your camper to know that what she is feeling is normal and that she knows how to deal with the feelings. So, Martha, do you want to tell us what she could do if she's feeling homesick?
I'd love to, Anna. My favorite technique is distraction. So a lot of times we're all pretty self-aware, and we know when we're feeling sad, but a great way to cope with that would be to distract yourself with maybe making a lanyard or doing something fun. Find someone you can talk to who's going to make you feel better, but really just try and get busy. Maybe doing something nice for someone else. That was Anna's idea. I like that one.
Yes. So you can let her know that instead of feeling overwhelmed when she gets those feelings of homesickness, that there are real tangible things she can do to help herself cope with those feelings and to feel better. So going over those before camp starts is a great idea to equip her and be proactive. Okay, so the fourth C we're going to talk about is contact. And contact lets her say to herself, I'm familiar with the camp environment and routine. I know what to expect. Because that can be scary and overwhelming when you're at a new place, you don't know where the bathrooms are, you're not sure what time you're going to eat breakfast, and that can definitely exacerbate those feelings. So one of the things that you can do is to look at the daily schedule on our website. And when I send out this information, I'm going to send out a PDF of our schedule just so you guys have it and can definitely go over what the day looks like with your camper. Some other things on our website are there's some great videos. And what do the videos tell us, Martha?
Everything from like our daily activities, what our evening programs might look like, some of our philosophy. I was really excited about the idea of maybe, like I said, looking at that schedule together, but maybe picking, a Saturday where, a few weeks before camp, maybe you wake up at that time and maybe you have a buzzer. That way you kind of follow the schedule throughout your day at home, first period, second period, and kind of get used to that routine, and that can kind of help.
Absolutely. She'll know, what our 50-minute periods feel like and how many periods she'll have before lunch and after lunch and before dinner. So getting familiar with what camp actually looks like and what the schedule will actually look like are huge for helping her feel confident in that. So speaking of confidence,
this is my favorite slide. Let's really harp on this.
Yes, so one of the main things that we would love for you to get out of this, if you get nothing else, is our reason for not wanting you to make a pickup deal with a camper. So one of the ways to set her up to not be successful at camp is to say, well, if you don't like it, I'll come get you. Because what that says to her is that you have so little confidence in her ability to cope with the normal feelings that you think the only way to help her is for you to come rescue her. So that just really kind of sets her up for disaster. It gives her an out. It helps her not, fully engage in the camp experience.
It really tears at the fabric of her camp experience. And after that, once we see that, it just completely unravels.
Yes.
And there's really no coming back.
Right. So what we want to set her up for is that she believes that she can survive a stay away from home, and that she knows that everyone at camp is here to help her if she needs it. So, Martha, what should you say to your daughter if she says, will you come get me if I don't like it?
Maybe something like, I recognize it sounds like you're feeling maybe a bit anxious and not confident in this experience, but I want you to know I wouldn't be sending you to camp if I didn't fully believe that you were ready for this. So I think that might be...
Absolutely, yes. Just continuing to reassure her that you support her, that you are so proud of her decision to come, and all of the positive things that are going to come from her having this amazing experience. So we wanted to stop there for a moment and see if there were any questions. Oh, that's so helpful. Thank you.
Yes, we didn't realize our camera was on, actually.
Can you see us now? So sorry.
Oh, wow, that is true.
Yes, okay.
That's weird. That has
There we
never
are.
happened before.
Okay, can everybody see us now? Okay. Okay, perfect. Okay. We love each other at Keystone.
Yes, we do.
Thank you. So, what kind of questions can we answer for you now? And if we don't have any, then we can definitely move on. Bullying.
Great question.
Yes. Martha, do you want to talk about how we train our staff to handle bullying and how it's handled at Keystone?
So we try and really kind of mitigate a lot of our camp issues through our staff development. So we have a week-long orientation all devoted to just professional development for our counselors and really making sure they're trained in different tactics, how to kind of spot it ahead of time. Because as we know, with girls sometimes it's hard to tell what's bullying, what's an inside joke, who's being left out and who's not. So we run lots of different scenarios, but we also do lots of different check-ins to make sure we understand the dynamics of everyone's cabins and making sure we stay on top of it.
Absolutely. And, camp is a really safe place to work on conflict resolution.
Mm-hmm.
Our staff are trained to kind of facilitate those conversations. And learning how to deal with that conflict is such a valuable skill that they can learn at camp. So
yeah, absolutely.
It's a great safe place to work on developing that skill. That's a great question. Okay, we're going to have some more time for questions in a bit. So we'll move on to our second S, which is the second S of what parents worry about, which is safety. So what we want you to know is that ensuring your child's safety is our number one priority. I'm a camp parent. I have a 10-year-old who comes to the 3-week session, and I feel like I'm so invested in it, not only as an employee of Keystone, but as a camp parent. So I want you to know that safety is always on the forefront of what I'm thinking about as my own child is here and a part of this community. So Martha, what are some things we do to ensure camper safety?
So inspections, that's huge. We're going through our reaccreditation year, so we're really paying attention to making sure all of our gear is inspected. We even have an arborist come out and look at all of our trees. We're making sure all of our buildings are up to code, but we're also doing things like, training our staff on all of our different procedures and drills. They're all receiving the proper certifications, be it CPR, wilderness first aid. All of our staff members are CPR certified as well as EpiPen certified, so that's going to be really big for us.
Absolutely. We also have 2 RNs that are at camp 24/7, and our camp doctor comes by several times a week to check on campers. And I get this question sometimes. We're less than 10 minutes from the closest hospital, so it's about 3.7 miles according to Google Maps, and at 10 minutes. So if if a camper needs to come to the hospital, we can get them there very quickly. So it's a benefit of Keystone being very close to town. So we definitely understand that is something that parents worry about. And another component of that is our emergency action plan. So we have a very comprehensive emergency action plan that we update yearly. We run drills with campers so that if there's an emergency, they know where to go. They're familiar with our warning system. And we also work with our emergency services in the area. They come out, we work with the fire department, the police department. They come out to make sure that we're doing the best and most up-to-date that we can do. And also the police and fire department in Brevard are located next to each other, and they're only about 4 minutes from camp.
Yes.
So they are amazing people, and we are very lucky to be that close to them. Okay, another thing, and we just had a question about this. Somebody was asking about food. So let's see. The question is, what about food? My daughter likes healthy food. She doesn't like mac and cheese.
Well, that's really great because we have kind of a buffet style and everything's being served separately. So that's really helpful to control allergies as well as for those that might be a bit on the pickier side. Let's say, they don't want this Alfredo chicken pasta situation. They would be able to just get plain noodles or just chicken. But also, in regards to allergies, we keep files on all the girls' different allergies. We have kind of pictures and magnets that hang above the buffet on the inside of the kitchen. So the campers don't see it, but those that are working in the kitchen do. And it has all of their restrictions, and everything is kind of run through with them beforehand. So
Absolutely.
Everybody that needs to know knows.
Yes. And on our buffet serving line, we always have two different options. We have a regular hot option and then either a vegetarian or vegan option. And our camp director, Paige, is a bit of a foodie, and so is Martha. So we're very lucky to have their influence. And my own camper ate, was it beans? It was sweet potatoes. No, it was sweet potatoes and kale. That was a huge hit.
I know, and there's always something fun on our salad bar,
yes,
too.
Absolutely. So we have a fully stocked salad bar. It's got lunch meat for protein, cheese, hummus, applesauce, lots of different options.
Mm-hmm.
We also have bagels on our breakfast bar and yogurt, cereal, fruit, things like that. So there's a very wide variety of options, and we also support healthy eating. So it's not all junk food all the time. And we really
there is a little bit.
But I've tried things at camp that I didn't think I would like, and
yeah,
I'm excited to not have to cook for a bit. So yes, that's a great question about food. All right, so we'll stop there after our safety thing. Yes, absolutely. If we have a question, if an emergency happens, then our camp director will accompany the camper to the emergency room, and you will get a call from her directly. She is very proactive in that, and I mean, we had a camper last summer who broke her arm. Our camp director's husband is an orthopedic surgeon at the local hospital, and they both went with the camper. They were in contact the entire time with the parents through FaceTime. So if an emergency happens, then we will be, our camp director herself will be in contact with you. We also got a question, is there security on site or armed guards? We don't have security on site. We are in a safe area in Brevard, and our camp staff is trained to handle any kind of emergency with a stranger, anything like that. So that's a great question. Any other safety questions? And if you think of them later, we can definitely answer them another time.
Absolutely.
Oh, that's a great question. What kind of background checks does staff go through?
Just a full background check that you would run through your local police department, and they go through all of their records and everything.
That's actually part of our ACA reaccreditation this year. Every person who is on staff that is in contact with the girls, including our volunteers, we have some babysitters, we have some maintenance guys, everyone who is here on camp property will go through a background check. So again, as a parent, I understand that that is a huge concern for safety issues, and we are proactive in that, and that we check in advance. Great question.
Okay.
All right. So the third S is social. So social, as a parent, you often wonder if your camper is making friends, and it can be especially hard if your camper doesn't come with a friend. But Martha, tell us your story. Martha attended camp for many years.
Yes,
and tell us your story.
My mom, I'm an only child, so my mom really wanted me to go away, and I'm from kind of a small town, and not a lot of other girls were going to camp, so I definitely went by myself. And, I was a little shy at first, but, I still go and see all of my camp friends that I made, like, several times a year. And I think it's a really great experience to kind of, the girls to branch out and maybe make friends outside of their school and have, connections from all over the world.
Absolutely. We have a map in our playroom, and when we meet someone from another state or country at camp, we mark them off. So it's a really neat visual way to get a picture of all of the keystone connections throughout the world. As Martha touched on, friendships at camp are incredible. Again, it goes along kind of with our bullying talk that camp is a safe place to learn those friendship-making skills. Our camp counselor's role, which is different from a teacher school role, their main role is to facilitate friendships and positive experiences. So, Martha, what kind of things do you do during staff development?
Well, we've already talked about how we kind of run through scenarios, but we definitely kind of work on developmental stages and kind of what that means socially for girls at that age. And our counselors are really trained in that aspect, and a lot of them have made friends through camp, and have learned how to be really kind of socially savvy here at camp. So
Absolutely.
that's kind of something that's on the forefront of all of our minds when we come to camp is we want our daughter to be here and make friends. So that's definitely what we're teaching our staff and how to kind of bridge that gap and form relationships. And they're really good at seeing maybe a girl that's excluded herself or off to the side and maybe like making a quick pickup game of something to get everything going and everyone involved.
One of my favorite questions that our directors ask in the staff interviews is, if you have 15 minutes, what is that question? If you have 15 minutes and a spoon
and it's raining outside, what do you do? So that's kind of how, even when we're doing staff interviews, we're looking for people that are going to be creative and get the kids moving and excited to be with each other.
Yes, and my own camper is not a super outgoing child, and so her first summer I worried about, she's not the kind of kid that's going to be the life of the party and is going to be, leading things. And it so impressed me because she came home and she had made friends. I mean, like people that I would have thought she would have never gravitated towards, she has those friendships. And we have pen pals. That's another fun thing about old school, fun thing about camp. So it's a really safe place to practice making those skills. Okay, so we've gone through all of these possible scenarios and worries, and so you may be wondering, why am I sending my child to camp again? So there's several areas that are proven that camp helps with.
Yeah.
Social skill development. They learn self-respect and character building. My child's not a child that is super willing to take a risk, and she climbed to the top of the rock wall, which is something she thought she could never do, and her pride in doing that, I mean, I see it in my own child, so I could talk for hours about this. But Martha, what about community living?
That's one of the biggest parts about Keystone is we are such a small community and we really see the individual and see everyone's unique personalities, but we really talk about giving back to the community and kind of functioning as a whole in that. We talk about living well in a community and what that looks like. Maybe it's picking your shoes up or making your bed and making sure, we're sharing the sink when we're brushing our teeth in the morning. But there's a lot of those little details that can kind of be missed at home that you only get when you're living in a cabin with 8 other girls your own age.
Absolutely, and I love that in the morning everyone has a chore. So they make their beds, they may be responsible for sweeping the cabin that day, but they have a sense of responsibility and ownership in where they're living, the community they're living in. So that's a huge skill, when they go to college and they have roommates. And it's a great, again, safe environment to practice learning that. And then I know for parents, the resiliency is a buzzword of late, but it just goes back to the whole taking a chance and trying something new and really learning to work through something that you thought maybe you couldn't do.
Exactly.
Okay. So the next part that we wanted to talk about is communication, both what you can expect from your camper and what you can expect from Keystone. So the main thing we want you to know is that no news from Keystone is good news. Mm-hmm. If there's a problem, an emergency, we will call you, but otherwise everything you can assume is A-okay. It's also normal to get a homesick letter or email, and it's also important to remember, especially with letters, that those are written during some of the loneliest times of the day, during rest hour when it's quiet or before bed.
Yeah.
And so she may be feeling, a different level of homesickness than what she is throughout the rest of the day. And by the time you get that, it may be several days later. And what we find is those situations have resolved themselves by the time you get the letter. So I know if you get a letter saying, there's one that's hanging up in our office that says, there are ants dropping out of the ceiling, I hate it here, it rains every day, I want to come home.
You might not have seen where she climbed up the rock wall and we ate ice cream and went swimming.
Absolutely, yes. And we also want to be clear that it's totally normal to not hear from your child, especially with emails. Our email system is the closest we have to the same day communication system. So she does have the ability to get an email in the morning and respond to you in the afternoon. But to do that, she has to go to her mailbox, get her email response sheet. She may tuck it under her arm, and then she runs up to the cabin for rest hour, and she tucks it in the side of her trunk. she gets busy making friendship bracelets or reading during rest hour, and then she's got the rest of her activities and then evening program. And then she may not find her response sheet for 3 days. So we want you to know that is totally normal, and that honestly, I feel like if you don't hear from her much, that's great. Then she's not, sitting in her bed ruminating and so sad she can't do anything. So don't expect much in the way of communication, especially for our little ones. It's hard for them to prioritize time, and they're in the moment and doing what they want to do right then. So totally normal.
But you will be hearing from our counselors. We have them send out kind of a mama letter via email and a couple different times. So you'll be able to see kind of a nice outside perspective of what she's been doing and up to and the different friends she's been making.
Absolutely. We also have a photo mom that lives here on camp property and spends her whole day walking around taking pictures. And I know I get calls sometimes from parents saying, oh, I got a call one time, my daughter's wearing a hat. And I said, oh, okay. And she said, well, she doesn't normally wear a hat. And I said, well, is it her hat? And she said, yeah. But it was very out of character for this camper, and the mom was concerned. And it turned out she just wanted to wear a hat at camp, totally normal. Sometimes you may see a picture and she might not look happy, but there's a lot more to the story than what you're seeing in the picture. She may be in deep conversation and not want to have her picture taken.
We see a lot of funny inside jokes happening in pictures too.
Absolutely. So don't, chances are the next time you see a photo of her, she's going to be fine. So that's definitely, again, something that's totally normal. We touched on this a little bit. If there's a medical emergency, you'll hear from our camp director immediately. And if it's a non-emergency issue, like the camp doctor is going to see her or the nurse has a question about the medication, the nurse will call you. We do not allow phone calls between campers and parents. It is never help to alleviate homesickness, and often will just make it worse. So as hard as that is, and I realize it's, especially
unless it's her birthday.
Yes, if it's her birthday, then we do allow phone calls. But we don't allow homesick campers to make phone calls. It's not healthy and doesn't help them, and a lot of times it makes the parents really worry. So I realize, especially in today's connected world, that's very hard. But, if something were an emergency on your part were to happen, then we would handle that then. But we don't allow.
We just try and stay as unplugged as possible in 2019.
Absolutely. Okay, so again, and somebody made a comment that no news is not good news, and I get it. I totally understand. But I promise you that even if you don't see them in pictures, they're still here. We promise you they're still here. They're having fun. Again, our staff are busy being present with and engaged with the campers. So when we have to stop and distract them and ask about campers, sometimes that gets into a pattern of taking them away from where they need to be. We also want you to know that our camp director has 35 years of experience and is a fourth-generation owner. So she has seen it all. She has heard it all. But I feel like she'll tell you every summer there's also something new. So she has lots of experience dealing with this, and thank you again for trusting us, because we realize this isn't easy. Okay, so this is my own personal thing that I have learned through camp. There's growth in the struggle. So when we step in and we make things too easy for our kids, we're really taking away that opportunity for them to overcome something that they thought they couldn't do. And it really robs them of those feelings of building the self-confidence and the satisfaction. And besides its 103-year history, Keystone Camp is small enough so that we get to know campers on a personal level. Mm-hmm. Our directors know each girl by name. They know her hometown. Our camp director could probably tell you her phone number because she's a walking Google. She's amazing. We also, because of our small size, are able to really invest in our relationship with you and the campers in your family. And we appreciate you trusting us with your treasure. I mean, that's huge, and it's so beneficial for everything. The last thing we wanted to share with you, and Martha and I are super excited about this.
Yes, we are.
we have invested in a program by one of the top psychologists in this field. It's called Prep for Camp. And so what that will entail is a 25-minute video that you'll watch with your camper. And it kind of goes over some role playing and what to expect at camp and how you may be feeling. And then there's a PDF resource for you guys to do together, and she can take it to camp with you. And then my favorite thing is there's a 25-minute podcast for you to listen to on your way home from camp. So after, you've made it to opening day, you've got the trunk packed, everything is good, then you can plug in your CarPlay and listen.
Chris Thurber's really there to hold your hand all the way home.
Absolutely, walk you through that. So we are very excited to offer that to you. When I send this recording tomorrow, I'll send a link on how to set up your account to get into that. So we're very excited. We also want you to know by doing this, we recognize how hard this can be and are here to support you and get you some great resources. Another great resource that Martha and I wanted to share is this book. It's Homesick and Happy. It's by Michael Thompson. And Martha, you want to tell us a little bit about this?
It just gives you a really great insight into, how your child is feeling in that moment and kind of what it can be like at that age to be away from home. It also gives you a lot of good tips and tricks in how to make that transition a little bit easier. I know we all know about heightened anxiety in America's youth today, and letting go can be a little bit difficult, but I think this helps the transition, kind of eases it.
Absolutely. So that concludes our part of the presentation, and now we'd like to open it up for questions. So one of the questions we got is, my daughter has not started her cycle yet, and I'm worried it could happen at camp. How would that be handled? Well, the great thing about being a girls' camp is that we are well prepared for that.
Mm-hmm. So we have in our infirmary, all of our nurses if you can imagine, really skilled at that because it happens every day at camp.
Mm-hmm.
You have, a whole lot of girls all at once, and we have many girls start their period for the first time during the summer. So we definitely realize that can be a special time, maybe make someone anxious, but there's definitely someone there to kind of talk her through it, and we would call you and talk to you about that and how you would like that to be handled, of course. But, if she's feeling anxious, we're not going to put her in a situation where she feels uncomfortable in the water, so we would kind of call you and talk about it together.
Absolutely. And the second part of that question is, if there is a time they don't feel comfortable doing something like swimming, how is that handled?
Oh, well, if your daughter doesn't want to swim in the lake, she definitely doesn't have to. We do a swim test at the beginning just to see what everyone's comfort level is and to see if they're going to be required to wear a life jacket when they are swimming. But outside of that, that's the great part about Keystone, is choosing your own schedule or adventure and kind of getting to stick to the things that you already enjoy, or maybe pushing yourself doing later. But
yes.
Yes, challenge by choice. Our other director, Heidi, is online, I'm seeing now.
Hey, Heidi. Okay, so let's see. Somebody asked, since your daughter went to camp, can you speak about your relationship and experiences with your daughter's counselors as a mother? I'm here to tell you that if I could stay in a cabin with these counselors and learn from them and grow from them, I would absolutely do it. We truly have some of the most compassionate, caring, fun, knowledgeable staff. And a lot of that comes from, we have a very high percentage of counselors who attended Keystone, so they're already familiar with the philosophy and vision of Keystone. But, I actually follow some of them on my social media, which is probably not encouraged. But it is really amazing to see the kinds of things they're able to accomplish in and outside of camp. It's just, there's some of the...
We're so lucky just to hang out with them all summer. So.
Yes. We're already getting so excited about having them back with us and getting to see them. And, the energy at camp when they're here is like none other. It's just incredible. And I can say that as a parent as an employee of Keystone. It's amazing. Okay, let's see. What other questions do you guys want to know? You've asked some great questions. How is everybody feeling about their daughter coming to camp? And I can also share with you that I did not grow up going to camp. I did grow up in Brevard, but where we have, 13 camps in the county, but it wasn't something that was part of my childhood, and so I didn't get camp. I mean, I saw this job here, and I thought, oh, that sounds really interesting, and I'll check it out. But I can't, it's become my life. I mean, it really has. My kids are here with me. I have a little boy who's 7, and he really is very upset already that he can't attend Keystone. So I
don't blame him.
He's gonna have a hard time, I think, at a boys camp. But it really has become a life and part of, we talk about camp at my house all the time, and I feel like any other job I've had I don't want to talk about after I check out and head home, and it just I get what camp is about now, and I've seen the way that it's changed my own daughter. Like I said earlier, she's not a child that's typically really outgoing, but I mean, I've seen her confidence improve. She started 4th grade without many friends in her class, and you know how we were. And so I was like, oh, I didn't want to tell her. I thought she was going to be really upset, but after the summer, she was like, well, it's okay. I'll make new friends. And it's been so amazing to see the transformation in her.
Yes, we do actually have quite a bit of diversity among all of our campers and staff. I mean, we have girls coming from all over the world, all the girls from France and South America, and I think we have a pretty wide diversity.
Yes, we really value that. That's part of our Keystone vision, is that we strive for diversity and giving girls opportunities to meet others that are different from them and really learn and grow.
We've been having international night with all of our staff where we get to celebrate kind of all the different countries everyone's from and eat food from different places. It's a lot of fun.
Yes, it just really helps their worldview so much. I'm cracking up because somebody commented, I'm terrified it's really a cult. She said, just kidding. But, I mean, sometimes it feels that way because I have never worked or been a part of something that I believe in as much as I believe in what we do here. I mean, and it's not just coming from what you hear. I've actually seen it in my own child, and I'm really excited for you guys to get to see the transformation in your own campers.
Yeah, absolutely.
It's amazing.
I know not having those phone conversations can be difficult. I can see where it'd be hard not to hear your child's voice every day, but, being unplugged is an exciting thing.
Yes. That's one of my favorite things, to look out over the green and see girls engaged in face-to-face conversations without a screen in their hand.
It's so beautiful.
Yes, that's one of my favorite things about camp. And honestly, when we have girls that fly in or girls that are older that get their phones on their time off as part of our leadership program, they hand their phones in, and there's such a relief on their faces because they have an excuse to not respond to notifications and whatever it is the kids are doing these days. And it's such a relief to them to get to be free from all of that pressure.
They don't even want it back.
No, they're like, here, take it.
How are the mosquitoes? Well, I would say that because we're in the mountains, they're not too bad. I mean, we definitely have them, and we really kind of want our girls to be using bug spray. I know some girls can kind of get those bug bites that kind of lump up, and we really kind of train our staff to make sure that everyone's bug bites, have Band-Aids on and they're looking clean, and going to the infirmary to make sure they're getting some antibiotic ointment on those and kind of monitoring it.
And all of our cabins are open air, but they do have screens at the top, they're protected while they're sleeping. And I mean, my campers can use a day pack to go from activity to activity, and they can just throw some bug spray in and spray down anytime they need to.
Do we have any other questions?
Anything else you guys want to know? All right.
And if anything comes to you all later, feel free to call us. or, email. We're always happy to answer anyone's question.
Absolutely. You guys have been great tonight. You've asked great questions, and we're so excited to get to meet all of you and see you in person and meet your awesome campers and get ready for the best summer.
Yes, absolutely.
Ever. So thank you so much.
Thank
And
you.
again, I'm Anna. I don't know if you guys saw us. When we did our introductions, you might have just seen our shoulders. So sorry. So I'm Anna, and this is Martha, and we are always here to help. So thank you so much for your time tonight, and we look forward to seeing you soon. Thanks.